Funny enough, I was speaking to Harry about chocolate earlier, chocolate bars, and when I used to work at a chip shop in my local town, there was a guy who used to, and you're going to think I'm lying, but there used to be a guy who popped in to the chip shop and just asked for random things battered every Friday. But he usually bring in like meats or like fish or whatever. But he didn't like bring his own cod that he like caught in a river or something. I know you don't catch cod in a river, but he'll bring in like slices of roast beef and like ask them to be battered, or like fizzy cola bottles or something. Yeah, he was a.
What did you charge for that service?
Yeah. I remember the guy I worked with was the owner of the Suns.
Son of the
Suns
owner.
owner. Yeah.
Son of the owner.
The son of the owner. Yeah. The Suns owner. The Suns owner. He used to just charge it. Oh, it's Jimmy. Just charge him £2 or whatever. It was really, really bizarre. But he used to ask for the. We used to play a game.
What was the weirdest thing?
What's he gonna ask? Probably the slices of roast beef or fizzy cola bottles. He did ask.
My worry is that that's just like come out of his pocket. No, like plastic bag. It's just gone. This.
Don't touch this salmon, but can you batter it for me? Don't smell it. Just.
Don't look at the expiry date on that.
Yeah, people, because I tell Harriet, because Harriet's from like the big city, Cardiff, and I'm from and I'm from like little old Usk, which is like this, the village of Hot Fuzz.
Yes,
it's like that, and it's exactly like that. Everyone knows everyone. Everyone knows everyone's business.
But that's what we say about Wales, isn't it?
There's a guy who lives up on the hill. He goes to sleep in a dinghy, like all that kind of thing, like classic Carl Pilkington estate sort of chat. And yeah, bizarre. But it's interesting to know what people's favourite chocolates are when they come to this country. But you can't diss Cadbury's. That's just one thing you can't.
Mostly fails, but Galaxy was that was my ace in the hole, and it did perform.
Very good. Did any of you have like any weird jobs when you were younger?
No, I worked in a pub, and then just stuff that I'm doing now, basically.
I've worked since I was 16. My first job was at Foot Locker.
Oh, my
Foot
first job
Locker
was
at 16. That's pretty good.
I was a karate instructor for the kids, for the exams. Yeah.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
Why are you laughing?
He held the blocks of wood as they were like trying to like. You must have
handed out the gis,
the belts.
You must have had.
I tell you what, I was harsh on those kids. I was like, "You should not be passing." And then,
but here is your belt.
But here is your belt. Much to reflect on, much to learn on. But
very good, very good.
Anyway, take your belt.
No, you must have had a great laugh. As they were all breaking their hands. Well, we may as well get started. Welcome everybody to SpilltheTeaCG podcast once again. My name is Benjamin Robiotti. You're joining me with my other fellow casters, fellow friends, blah blah blah. Joe Bernard and Alex Dow once again. It's been a couple of weeks actually since we did our last podcast. Our last podcast was just after EYC, where you all heard our woes and our victories, mainly woes, but from me. But we've had quite a busy couple of weeks. Cups, loads of cups, loads of them, 2 at least.
Cups. Yeah.
Just from me. Joe's been having a great time. Alex has also been just being Alex, really. But how have your guys' 2 weeks been since our last pod?
Well, Rab, you summed it up perfectly.
We have nothing
else to say.
Let's carry on.
I've had a good time. I did some touristy stuff around London last weekend, which was a lot of fun. Haven't done that for like many years, since like school trips. But the weather held out really nicely, so that was very good. Went to Chinatown and had a great meal as well, which is awesome. So good weekend last weekend for me. You
went to a challenge as well, right?
That was the week before, yeah. Went to a challenge, cheeky win there. I just played Arch again. Not too much to report, nothing too exciting there.
Fair enough. Alex, anything for you?
So a couple of weeks ago, I think the local store was doing like a Pokemon Day celebration thing, so took Mason along. Played some of the, I say played very loosely, the kind of free little battle decks that they hand out, just to kind of show them some cards. There was a few other people there. I mean, they also gave Mason like a little, like a Legends box to open, which is kind of cool. Just need to do that. And obviously picked up some of those promos, which is really cool as well. I mean, like every store was sent like hundreds, it looked like. So they were quite happy to like give them out quite willingly.
Yeah,
like the whole Sylveon promo, the illustrated promos, which are really cool. So things like that. And then last week just chilled, tried to enjoy the weather, to be honest. I think that was actually one of the few times it's been really good for quite some time in the UK.
Nice. Has he been getting into it now, Mason? Is he getting to that age yet where he's understanding what he's holding on to and what he's doing?
Not at all. not a clue. You can just about open packs on Pocket.
Are you making sure that he's going to be in tune with everything Pokemon when it gets to that point?
I don't. I mean, I think he obviously likes Pokemon. I don't know if he'd ever really get the card game. I mean, I'm not going to push it onto him, so.
Oh, I'm pushing on to him.
It's my hobby. I'm keeping it to myself. He can have his own one.
I'm pushing out to Nelly because as soon as she can hold cards, she pays for herself. It's great.
Yeah, she does. I suppose that's one way to look at it.
I'll get Unky Joe and
Not
Unky
about
Alex.
the enjoyment.
You're the worst kind of parent.
You're the worst.
Unky Joe and Unky Alex, the teacher, had to play.
Brilliant.
It's certainly not from me. Automo.
I'll give her the same treatment I gave you when I'm coaching.
No. Whoa, no chance. Absolutely no chance. Or would I? It's harsh.
Yeah.
Harsh learning.
You know what?
Harsh
Sometimes it'll be like the Williams sisters,
Hello?
the tennis players. Do you not know that their dad was like giga strict on them?
What was his name? Richard.
Did you think about our Williamses?
I did
And I
for
was
1
like,
minute
sisters.
I did for 1 minute think Rhys and Luke Williams are sisters, yeah.
No. What's the film called? Is it King John or something?
King Richard.
King Richard.
Yeah.
With
that's more Will Smith.
Yeah, Will Smith. I was about to say Will I Am. It's Will Smith. But that
We're all over the place already.
He got nominated for the Oscar. That's where he did the slap.
Yeah.
The Chris Brown.
Was that the slap year?
Yeah.
Big year for him. Yeah.
Big Willie.
Yeah. The slap. Yeah, but moving off that, let's get into our Pokemon content finally. It's 8 minutes in. Yeah. Well,
that's quite good for us, actually.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I'll put the timestamp in for sure. But the first big announcement, I guess, for I did play 2 cups. I could go through that, but I'm not.
Go on.
Go on. We
play
all
2
want to hear
cups.
it. Come on.
Scoop the final into one of them.
Why?
And what happened at the end of it?
One, Nelly was getting quite irate, and I was getting.
Where is he?
She wasn't there.
It's been 8 hours. Where is he?
I was getting texts like it's 7. So Harry was doing this
by
thing.
Nelly.
Harry was doing this thing, which sometimes I get quite scared of, where every hour she messages with like just a simple question, and I can just tell when things are kind of ramping up back at home. So
yeah.
So that was happening, but also Elliot's going for his World's invite, so I thought I may as well be the good guy once more. But yeah, and then I got home too late anyway, but that's another story. Then the second cup, just Guardians.
So Nelly's fuming.
Yeah, Nelly's fuming. Went 0-2, then to 3-2, missed out. Just that sort of stuff.
0-2.
That's Guardian, innit?
And you played out at 0-2, did you? Fair play.
I never dropped it.
I'd have gone home.
Never
at
dropped.
0-2.
I mean,
Nelly was calling, but Rab was like, "I'll play another round."
I could have gone. I was like,
phone on silent at 0-2.
Yeah.
Like I've got.
It's 11 o'clock, and I may as well play on, so I did. I had a great time though. 0-3 I played 0-3. 0-2 I played for Alligator, which was great. I had to tell him,
for Alligator.
Please play this after post. Yeah, put it back in the bottom. It's not cooked yet. Yeah, that was about it. But yeah, let's get right into the other content, I suppose.
Plenty of news.
Plenty of news. First came from Pokemon Day. I've forgotten when that was now. A couple of weeks ago. Pokemon Day.
Feb 20 something.
27. I remember watching it at work, but don't tell my boss. But watched it at work. I'm usually giving you guys cooking tutorials when I'm working.
Right.
Yeah, what's
well,
your
if he is listening now, you're possibly doing it.
But Pokemon 2 was great. It was full of surprises, full of good news from all of the other happenings around Pokemon. I think Pokemon now is just a media in itself, isn't it now? I mean, TV shows, games. But the main...
for quite a while.
The biggest... Yeah. Hang on. The biggest card news was the re-release of Mega Pokemon, which came to... I don't know, subjective feedback, I guess, from the community. I think the biggest news is that, of course, the EX Pokemon, the Megas at least, are 3 prize Pokemon, which has been, I think, surprisingly welcomed by some people for me. But obviously a lot of people didn't like the last time we had 3 prizes in the format, which was both VMAX and tag teams. But it was an interesting response, I think, from the community as a whole. Both Pokemon are absolutely nuts, really. The texts are pretty scary, both on the Lucario and the Gardevoir. I'll just run through them before I ask Joe and Alex what their opinions are. So, Mega Lucario, for 1 fighting, 1, that is 1, 130 damage, attach up to 3 basic fighting energy cards from your discard pile to your bench Pokemon any way you like. Then for 2 fighting does 230, and the classic, you can't use that attack next turn. Then for Mega Gardevoir,
it's 270.
270, sorry. Don't know why I said 240. And then Mega Gardevoir for 1.
Forget it.
For 1 psychic overflowing wishes. For each of your bench Pokemon, search your deck for a psychic energy and attach it to that Pokemon, shuffle your deck. And then for 1 psychic, 50 damage for each psychic attached to all of your Pokemon. And then on a side note, they've re-released what is essentially Electro Power from way back in the day, but for fighting Pokemon. So Premium Power Pro. During this turn, attacks used by your fighting Pokemon do 30 more damage. Coincidentally, Mega Lucario is a fist Pokemon.
That is a coincidence, yeah.
HP 340 on the Lucario and 360, which is a record, right? Biggest HP on the Pokemon? Mega Gardevoir?
360, yeah.
Has to be, without any sort of tools or gizmos and gadgets. But Alex, I'll come to you first. What was your opinion when this was first announced?
I guess the first opinion I was thinking about was just like I don't know when they've announced exactly when the Megas will release. I don't know if we have that kind of information yet, but because we've only just about to get like the partner Pokemon that in the new sets post rotation, and then we're going to get another new sort of quote unquote mechanic that's coming. I obviously enjoyed my time in the old Mega Pokemon world or Mega Pokemon format, so it's a nice kind of to see him come back. It's quite nice to see them come back as evolutions on like basic Pokemon, on like much smaller Pokemon or stage 1s in Gardevoir's side of things. But yeah, I mean, look, it's so early on. There's only like a few that have been announced. It's not really that there's plenty more things to come first. We don't know how the format will shift with the partner Pokemon first and then going into this release. So I'm staying positive and optimistic over it. It is 3 prizes. It's fine. You still have to get there because they are stage 1s and stage 2s. And then,
there probably will be basics though.
Yeah,
there probably will be eventually basics.
Sure. Yeah, but I mean, like, whether they'll be as like they are still 3 prizes to give away. They have to be like pretty damn good. They're still gonna. I mean, Lucario 340 HP as a stage 1. Gardevoir
essentially a VMAX, essentially,
right? Yeah. And their weaknesses are pretty things that we kind of actually see at the moment, right? So there's swings and roundabouts. But I quite like them. Let's just not have to overthink it for the moment. Let's see what actually comes out before we even get to that stage.
Yeah, I think going back to the evolution line, I think what makes me think that there will be basic Megas is because Mega Gardevoir evolves from Curlier, not Gardevoir, if that makes sense.
Yes. So an Absol or a Kangaskhan or something like that.
Yeah, or
Sableye
or whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe, thoughts on your side then?
Well, I hated old Megas, even though they were just 2 prize Pokemon. I hated Spirit Links. It just made deck building worse and led to more feels bad moments, essentially, of like hit and whiff on already evolution, which is just like a fine mechanic on its own. And I had a personal gripe that we had different Spirit Links for different mons in every single pack we opened for 8 sets or whatever it was, which is just nonsense. Definitely should have been a Mega Stone. Don't know why ever it was not. But and also that could have made deck building more interesting as well with multiple Megas in certain decks. Anyway, I digress. So I didn't love old Megas, but they weren't offensive cards. They were like just the same as our old EXs. So now it's a bigger change, like you said, Rab, more similar to VMAX and more similar to tag teams. Undoubtedly, they're going to have a massive impact on the game. But I feel like that doomsday moment of like, oh, now you have to play 3 prizes in every deck you play, like the VMAX era for, well, it was during COVID, really, fortunately. We didn't have to play this in too many real tournaments, but some of the Players' Cups was definitely like my VMAX versus your VMAX deck, or VMAX versus tag team plus EX, or like plus V basic deck or whatever. And people hated that format mostly because there wasn't enough complexity on the VMAXs themselves. They were just big, dumb guys that all had the same attack for 2 energy. It just happened to be a different color of energy. And I think we don't have to worry about that for these Megas. We're already seeing 2 attacks on these cards. They're full cards, not like breaks where it's just like one little bit of extra text as well, which is relevant. So happy that they're probably going to have abilities on, I would imagine, as well as having multiple different attacks. So they're like fine to be close-knit onto themselves. And yeah, tag teams, I wasn't a big hater of tag teams, but I know people don't love big basic metas just for the simplicity of it. But it looks like they're keeping the same philosophy as they have throughout the early Scarlet and Violet sets, where it's going to be, we're going to have categories of basic 3 prizes, stage 1 3 prizes, and stage 2 3 prizes. They've been able to juggle that right now. I don't see why they can't do that with 3 prize Pokemon as well. The only real nuance then becomes like the deck building simplicity process of like, because I play 3 prizes, I can't play a bunch of 2 prize Pokemon in my deck because it's too easy for my opponent to map out a prize race against me. So I have to play more quad style decks, which is something we saw with like Green's engines with tag teams. Or if you go back further, yeah, I mean, there's lots of same thing for VMAX Pokemon, right, where you would just have some like setup single prizes and it didn't matter that they got knocked out. Like Orbeetle had 4 Snorlax and sometimes you would feed 2 Snorlax while you build your board up and that was not affecting a prize map. So those sorts of decks probably will be more of a thing. But I really like the design specifically of Gardevoir EX, the Mega Gardevoir EX, in that it's going to be like a finisher style card rather than a card that you play 4 of as the whole combination of your deck. It's going to have moments in games where it's really powerful, but the timing of this card is really important and your board position is really important. And I think that sort of approach with Megas is going to be really refreshing, where you have within different decks 2 prize, 1 prize, and 3 prize Pokemon. That's what Gardevoir could potentially be. That can make it so flexible and so interesting to play. So I understand the backlash because 3 prize bad. That's what we've heard as like a narrative for a long time because some of those formats weren't the best. Although I liked large portions of the tag team era, I had more issue with the VMAX era. I feel like it's going to be much more interesting this time around. Just Rab, before you weigh in, did you play initial Mega format? Or was that before your time?
So my first ever deck was Mega Kangaskhan EX.
Well, there you go.
That's a bit of
Rab. And that didn't even have a Spirit Link.
No, it was great.
No. Just end your turn, why not?
Yeah, I played with a Gumshoes GX.
Huge.
Tim will know, I knew beat him. Played as Mega Mewtwo.
Wait, Dad, did you play Kangaskhan at Worlds? Did you play Aromatisse at Worlds?
I didn't play Plasma.
You played Plasma.
It was one of those. It was one of those. I didn't play Plasmatees. Yeah, that was one of those Luke Burke decks which I wasn't in tune with at the time.
Right.
No, I can understand the negative. I say backlash it wasn't as bad as to use. The
it's just Twitter backlash, right? It's just Twitter. I have to immediately tweet an angry emoji. There's no nuance to some of those arguments.
Yeah, because a lot of people didn't
remember.
Like
it's always. I was going to say, whilst you're thinking about your point, Rab, it's always easy to complain rather than be championing something, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a case for me. I've watched this space. I think I mostly agree with your sentiment, Joe, in that it can bring about some very, very interesting gameplay because of how, say for Mega Gardevoir is a great example, because you have already the Gardevoir EX and now the Mega Gardevoir EX with the connotation of playing single prize Pokemon doing a lot of the damage, it could end up being that we have games in which the prize maps are very interesting because a lot of players are playing a mixture of 1, 2, and 3 prize Pokemon. I probably said exactly the same as you have, but
it is a point to drive home, though.
Yeah, it is. It is because a lot of people have obviously looked at this Gardevoir EX on the face of it and gone, "This is obviously busted in Gardevoir EX as it is right now," but and it is, but it's not going to be at the forefront of the game plan, is it? For Gardevoir EX, it's going to be a one-off, right? It's going to be a game ender, like you said. And, I think a lot of decks will maybe share that sentiment, being that, it's a stage 2, and you can play a lot more funky stuff with it. I mean, we saw that in the Gardevoir when it first came out, right? Because they played the single prize Gardevoir, and that also came across with some funky board states and gameplay. So, I think for me, it's a case of watch this space.
The only other thing that my main backlash is that it makes weakness much more of a factor in the game if you are building towards 3 prizes fully. Like if you're playing a quad Lucario deck, for example, it's so easy to have 80-20 matchups just based on the fact that you have this ×2 weakness in the bottom corner and you can never catch up in that instance. So that's one thing that I didn't like about the VMAX era, and I think is one of the only lingering issues with current megas. And then there's also the small headache that we have lots of pick-up healing style effect cards and extra hit point buff cards in the format. These cards are going to be out with the A-Spec cape, the hero's cape. So we can have some silly hit point guys with lots of pickup tools. So I feel like that could also be similar to how we saw like Stonjourner VMAX as or what was was it Arctazolt's VMAX? There was terrible decks.
It was Dracozolt, right? It was Was it Dracozolt or
maybe Dracozolt? I can't remember. Anyway, but yeah, playing 4 Locky Ice Pops and terrible cards, but they're just too big to deal with, and I hate those strategies. Those are the things that I'm most concerned about.
I don't think it'll happen in this circumstance, only because these are dependent on evolution from single prize, lower HP Pokemon. I think
that's actually better than VMAXs back in the day, though, right?
It's way better because you're not evolving from a 220 HP V into a 330 HP VMAX. You're evolving from a 80 HP Curlier into a 360 HP.
It makes them more powerful as well, though, right? Because the turn 1 and 2
100%.
issue is reduced massively. In the VMAX era, if you went second and you're both playing VMAXs, it was losing that flip was devastating. That's why we saw 4 Crushing Hammer in so many decks, just because you had to buy a turn back of energy attachment to even have a chance to win that game. It was tragic. It was absolutely abysmal.
And that's
but we don't have that issue, which is big.
The reason why these have to be 3 prize Pokemon is also because if you look at Lucario EX, Mega Lucario EX, for example, seeing that only just having 1 turn, your opponent's going first and evolving into that 340 HP Pokemon turn 2 is pretty scary, and it can be quite... I don't know. I guess I'm afraid of Snowball. 330 HP Pokemon. You remember back in the tag team era where you had a 240 HP Pikachu and Zekrom in front of you, and how scary that could be when it's going to do Tag Bolt next turn. It had to be 3 prizer because your opponent had to get back into the game. You had to let your opponent have a method of getting back into it. So if you find you can't knock out the Mega Lucario on your second turn, if you can still knock it out on your third turn, at least you're still in the game. If this was a 2 prizer, it would be obviously a game over. That's my mentality as to why it has to be a 3 prizer for me.
That's fair. I feel like those hit point thresholds are going to be quite consistent. I think our initial megas are probably going to float around the 260 to 290, maybe some get up to 300 thresholds. The stage 1s are going to be around that 340, 330 hit points, and I think the Gardevoirs, the 360s, 370s are going to be the high-end stage 2s. Yeah. I think that's quite a consistent thing, similar to how we've seen it.
I'm kind of surprised. I would have thought Guardi would have been one of the lower stage 2 ones.
It might be.
So I'm kind of expecting a 380.
Yeah, I think that's
something
huge. Yeah, like an Aggron or something dumb. Yeah.
I guess the thing is as well is how far-reaching can some... We usually see with the tag teams, and we always go back to the tag teams, and even the VMAXs as well, is that if you were able to find a single prize Pokemon take Mew VMAX, for example. If people were able to find a single prize dark Pokemon or a 2 prize dark Pokemon that was easily put into any deck and you could utilize it well in more matchups than one as well, then that's obviously it creates more of a balance, right? Whereas now with 360 HP, how many single prize and double 2 prize Pokemon can reach that 180 number? I guess that's something also we have to consider, right?
I mean, Mew's quite a unique case anyway, I think.
Mew had
it had one prize card attackers. Like, Mew was that weird combination where it had 1, 2, and 3 prizes in the deck. So the fact it was a 3 prizer was really detrimental for
I'm just using
how people race.
Yeah, I'm just using it as an example because I think if weakness is going to come into play, and it will, people will be scrambling PTCG Live.
We still have Charizard, so
we do.
Moons are still about, right?
Moons are still about. Moons can get. A lot of people are saying that like the solution to this is that there are going to be convoluted beat stick 1 prizes like old Blounds, for example, coming into the meta. I hate those decks being in the meta game, by the way.
I do as well.
All weakness map, like we're playing 2 or 3 stage 1s that have enough weaknesses here, there, and everywhere, and then I'm not really a good deck in my own right, but everything goes times 2.
It's like I was going
to say it's the same. Like this is why I said we've got to be thinking about what we're going to get first in the partner type Pokemon. All right, we've got Lily's Clefairy, psychic Pokemon. It's got a Rondo attack. It's a psychic Pokemon, and it makes dark Pokemon, not dark, dragon Pokemon have a weakness, right? It feels like that's the kind of type of card that's actually going to start to really influence like a format and a meta going forward. I think we're getting megas either November or Jan. I think that's our timeline. I think it's August for Japan. So just for timeline's sake, it's kind of
I think it's on November.
So far ahead.
Yeah. Have we confirmed how many partner Pokemon sets we're getting, or partner Pokemon orientated, as I should say?
think it's 2 or 3. I think
2 or 3.
Because we have
it's
the rocket-based one.
Rocket.
We need more. We need more. We need a whole year of them.
Well, who knows? Maybe the Mega expansion has some more, 1 or 2 more trainers in there as well, right?
It might trickle them in, yeah. I mean, for Mega Pokemon, I remember back when, I first started playing, they were Mega Pokemon sprinkled everywhere. Promos, boxes, as well as that was a big
philosophy shift actually around XY, wasn't it? In terms of their additional products. So yeah.
There are so many Mega Pokemon though, so there are.
What do you mean? There can only be like 2 or 3 sets.
No.
There's more than you would think.
One rumours of there being more as well.
Well,
because of Legends.
Legends. Is it ZA or ZA?
Z to A.
Z to A.
You just have to You're just gonna let that, and that's it. And then you just stop saying words then.
And that's Pokemon Day.
Yeah.
What were the 3 starters we got? We got Chikorita, we got Tepig, and we got Toto. So I imagine those will be megas that we get.
Tepig's my boy.
An even bigger Emble.
My favorite.
I'm all in on Totodile. Come on now.
Yeah. I really hope they don't ruin for Alligator.
Yeah, well.
Most of the time when you were happy and sad that you learnt that your guy had a mega, because sometimes they're great and sometimes they're.
Have you seen Heracross?
You're not happy with it?
Terrible. No.
Yeah. Look, exactly.
Pathetic.
Is there a mega Heracross? There isn't.
Yes.
Is there? Yeah. There is.
It just becomes I don't know. Big old.
Do you remember the attack name down?
Beetle. Was it Big Bang Horn or something like that?
Big Bang Horn.
Big Bang Horn.
It was like 250 minus every damage.
Oh yeah, it certainly had a minus on it. Yeah.
It was minus 10 for each damage counter on it, right?
Yeah.
Toilet. So bad.
Rubbish. Rubbish. Toilet. Moving on then. The next topic is our latest announcement. This came yesterday or day before yesterday.
Yesterday.
Oh, I'm on the wrong page. I'm on regionals and
information we've been waiting for
the 12th of March.
How long now?
Yesterday, hot off the press. We just had to get on the pod as soon as we heard this. It is the new Ace Trainer
2 days
rewards.
late.
2 days? It's a day.
Yeah, by the time we release it.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be in an editing dungeon all night if you want to one day.
I hope not.
You're going to bring Nelly on again? Just for the,
Oh, please.
Sorry,
the X Factor sob vote. Sorry, I need diapers for this one. Could you please like and comment and subscribe?
Wasn't even looking at the camera. Please, we need sponsors. We need sponsors, please.
Can you bring your child on next time, Joe, please?
What?
Just bring on Tim on your lap.
I'm stunned.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, come on.
Come on.
So the next, Ace Trainer Awards, we'll finally get to it at some point. Ace Trainer Awards, it was...
But what are Ace Trainer Awards?
What do we... What's it?
Can you read the announcement? Can you read the announcement out to me?
How do we define reward?
What is prize mapping?
So last June, it does say. It even says they even say it. Last June,
there you go.
Several changes to the 2025 Pokemon Championship Series were announced, including an update to how players can qualify for the World Championships and Championship points. This new qualification system changed, however, how Chase is qualified per rating zone. You guys can read it for yourself.
We're going to be here forever.
I feel like you're reading it for the first time, Ralph.
Can you at least click on the official hub page?
I have.
I was a bit worried.
So, in the post, they essentially say that there are certain rewards in Asia for a lot of players that qualify for an extra prize other than World Championship invites and all the usual stuff, that's status quo. And it's a celebratory fanfare, which is a promotional card. And what they're doing is announcing that we're going to get some of that too. So any player that has earned over 200 CP or 200 or more will qualify for not only these promotional cards, but also deck box and sleeves, right?
On PTCG Live.
On
PTCG Live. Yeah. Deck box and sleeves on PTCG Live and this promotional card. Although a lot of people were pretty hype about this, there were some, again, just like with anything that they announced, there were some negative vibes being posted out there as well. On the fact that, we've waited this long for this, or this isn't enough. Why isn't it a mat? Why aren't we getting real sleeves? Why aren't we getting real deck boxes, etc., etc.? They are real, but they're just on PCG Live. But yeah, I'm intrigued to know what your guys' thoughts are, because for me, I think this is a step in the right direction. I mean, we spoke about it on the last podcast about how people should be rewarded for getting a day 2 now in regionals and internationals, and how they should get some sort of promotional card or something, deck box or a play mat or whatever it is, to say I've made day 2, I'm a day 2 qualifier or whatever. And I think this shares the same sentiment. I think this is just something to add to the niceties, I guess, of playing Pokemon competitively. But Joe, I'll go to you first because I went to Dow first for the Megas.
Sure.
Joe, thoughts?
So my initial thought is I really like the bar that they set at 200 CP. I think is a very clever bar in terms of how inclusive it is and the amount of players who are joining the game or don't attend majors but are happy to just go to all the local leagues and cups and challenges and whatnot. All of those players are eligible to get this 200 CP and end up with a really nice promotional card, which we otherwise wouldn't get. So that's the main thing that I really like about this, is that it's very inclusive, very, I don't want to say easy, but very achievable for anyone who wants to, throughout a season, have a goal in mind. I feel like that's a goal that anyone can set realistically. If they go to just 1 or 2 majors and their locals, I feel like that's possible for a strong player. And then if you want to do like lots of these, and this is your first step towards like an introduction to CP, what it means to get it, how to chase an invite, that sort of thing. This is that first step. So I feel like it really will lure players in who end up with this coming through their post box because they've got 200 CP, may not even know that they're on 200 CP, in some cases, right? And they're like, why did I get this? Oh, I'm apparently an ace trainer, and that's such a nice feeling. And it will feel like a genuine reward. It is like a trophy card, similar to how we love getting championship festivals or whatever they are now, the Paradise Resorts, those sorts of cards. It's going to be treasured for a lot of players, I think. And achieving that is a really big deal. So I think it can't be understated how impactful this is for the wide scale of players. I think where there's just criticism is that it's taken them 9 months to reveal one card that we get for one bar. And I think this was essentially announced in June as like the appeasement of, sure, less people are going to Worlds, but don't worry, there's a structure coming where we're still thinking of you and you're still going to get away with some of the things that you expected to get in a day one Worlds competitor kit, you know? And that's not what we have. So there's not this like 200, 400, 600 as just a baseline example of you hit this promo, you hit this playmat, or whatever it is. Like I feel like playmats and stuff is going to be hyper expensive, and even with less people attending Worlds, it would still be so expensive to send out all this product. Like the fact that it's a promo makes a lot of sense because postage will be really cheap, right, for how many people they need to send it to.
Sure.
So I think the fact that it's just one bar is genuine criticism that I think is warranted. The fact that congrats, you're an ace trader, Alex Dow.
I have no idea what I've done to you.
It happens every single time.
This. Yeah.
Sometimes I get a thumbs up. I don't know.
I think the other major disappointment is that it's not every zone that is eligible for the Ace Trainer Awards, and that LATAM players do not get these, at least for this season. And they've said it's logistic constraints. Yeah. I mean, for a company this size, it's still disappointing. And I think that's very valid criticism. And I think you can feel pretty hard done by if you are in LATAM. It's just an unfortunate situation in this case. But I'm certain they will have endeavoured to have tried to make it happen, and then things just haven't worked out. So there's more to be done, I think. I really feel like it's the framing of this whole thing that's been terrible, is that if it's something this simplistic, why not announce it at June or like a month later? It makes me think that they were trying to do more and logistically couldn't, or couldn't find it in the budget to do more. Even though I think this is quite an elegant solution, I feel like in the future I'd like to see this expanded on. And you have to also think that players who would have wanted more bars affects way less people as you go. So it's cheaper, but also ultimately affects fewer people. So those people who are 130th in their region now don't go to Worlds, put so much work in for the season, and just get the same promo as someone who did like 4 cups and 4 challenges and like 2 majors. You know, that doesn't feel right. And I think there does need to be some sort of reconciliation there, even if it's only a handful of people who are butthurt at the end of their season.
Yeah, it's a good point. Alex, thoughts on your side?
Yeah, I mean, look, I probably, Joe's probably summarised it quite nicely in terms of all the points that we probably would want to touch on. Big positive that you can just go to locals and potentially earn this kind of celebratory card. It's a kind of a brilliant way to be able to do so. I think that I do err on more on the side that I'm a little bit more disappointed having heard this. This is something that, you know, myself, Joe, I know Joe's been a massive champion since we heard that kind of,
I was so excited for it.
Couple of sentences, right? Because a lot of people don't often maybe get the opportunity to play so many different regionals, internationals, but there was still something there, whether it's something to do with play points, something to do with championship points that you can earn, that mean you can continue playing and actually keep up the number of people who turn up to these kind of championship point events at local tournaments. And 200's a nice bar. It's a good entry bar, but I feel like there's just so much opportunity there that is a little bit missed. Whether it's like, I don't know, even if you earn like, you can keep working your way up to earn a play set of them, or just something like that. You know, it's little things like that. Or maybe there's a stamp that says you hit a certain threshold. There's another stamp that hits another threshold. Could still keep the same kind of promos, which would be really cool. But you could say for this season, I've hit that benchmark. Right now, next season, I can maybe try and go for the next benchmark and things like that. So yeah, it's great to have heard this kind of announcement finally. It doesn't get sent out, I think, till January next year.
That's
which
right.
is kind of crazy. But again, I'm assuming it's because of the whole logistics stuff. It's the whole management of maybe like, I think Seagrove put a tweet out that said like 2,000 players right now would be getting in the NA region. That would be eligible. Which is crazy enough, and we're only maybe 3/5 of the season through, right? We've still got quite a bit to go. And now that there's this announcement, there'll be even more. Again, echo the sentiment around LATAM because they have a Mexico office now. I guess and there's still plenty of time to get that out to them in January at the same time.
That's the thing, right?
So there's just little missed tricks, and I don't know what it is. I hope it's the same sentiment that you said, Joe, that they really did try to push for other stuff, because we've seen how, just we talk about the growth of the game all the time. All these big events happen, all the other little side things that happen at events now. I'm sure in their minds something was there, but So personally, a little bit disappointed. I mean, I'm in that. I'm kind of am in that little bit of a limbo where pushing for an invite is probably like a little bit too far for me now, whereas I'm a bit beyond the 200 points. So am I playing for anything really? Possibly. I still love the game, so I will play, but it would be nice to have that extra motivation to do so, for a lot of people, I suppose. But yeah,
extra bit of something.
Steps in the right direction. I'll give them that. For sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think it steps in the right direction, and this gives them a lot of, being that this is something new for them, right? This is something that they haven't tread water on before.
Is it
something?
They have.
We had PlayPoint rewards back in the day. Yes, granted, we had maybe a quarter of the player base, but you earn player rewards by the number of play points that you had. So if you hit a number, I think it was quite minimal. If you just hit a certain number of threshold. I remember being sent like the player reward, like choruses and things like that. Very playable cards, and they're very I think people who hit the upper thresholds they got the player reward like Pokemon catchers, like there were tiers within this aspect. So the idea is there.
I guess this is something. When I said that, I think this is something much more larger scale than that, right? Though.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, this is something that logistically they have to really think about before they can sort of commit anything. And we know how they don't want to commit to anything unless they know for sure 100% it will work. So I understand the disappointment people will have with this, but I think having something is of course better than nothing. They've committed to saying that we will have something. I know that, but I think this will only grow. This won't be taken away.
Yeah.
This will only grow as time goes on, and new things will become unlocked as time goes on. And you will hope. I know it's expensive, but I keep using the example of further product like playmats. It probably won't be because of the cost.
I guess
it might be. You don't know, but
it depends, right? Because if you go as high as like old Worlds attendee numbers that you've basically stripped out by going from a bar to a top X, like maybe it's only 1,000 people that then do get a playmat, and that would be the same cost that they would have done at Worlds, right? Or like less than even with postage compared to a Worlds kit.
I think you got to think about it this way, like when you and it's probably I'm pretty sure it's similar with the other card games like Disney Lorcana and Ravensburger and stuff. But the to print a card is very minimal cost for an organization.
Yeah, that's always the best.
So as a business, that's why they can say there's no monetary value. That might be the reason why there's more logistical things that they have to think about, because they have to basically write off quote unquote stock. But there's just so many. What we've had back in the day, and we can harp about it all the time, when we had what were battle roads or challenges now. We had winner cards, like we had first, second, third place.
We
cards.
did, yeah,
and
we did.
And that was when it was even a smaller pocket of people going to those. Challenges now can go up to like what would be like cup numbers, right? Yeah. So there's still extra little things to be playing for. And by the way, I love the celebratory fanfare type card.
Yeah.
It's just like maybe it's just because I've had the experience of having more before that there's so much potential.
My only pushback for the play point argument is that we already have to play packs, and that is already such a dub from TCI.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry for stepping on your toes there.
No, it's okay.
But I feel like that is so.
Points,
and this is a completely different approach. So I think we always have that. You were saying like incentive to keep going to locals and stuff. I think the play points do such a good job of that. Like I probably wouldn't be going to the small amount that I do attend if there wasn't like those play packs that at least give me something to add to my cube or to add to a GLC deck or whatever else, Sure. So I think that those packs are still such a big win that we can't really compare that to the old play point system, because packs I think trump those old cards already. This thing is a different new thing that is like you said, promo. Yeah, I really like your idea of having like these different artwork promos or different stamps on these for thresholds, because that will cost them nothing and is really valuable to the player base.
Or different regions. That'd be cool.
Yeah, like we have these 4 artworks. I imagine they're all going to be the same. Is it going to be for the different games, or like what's it for?
Those are the different year ones, right? They were 21, 22.
Yeah.
So are we just getting the?
We're just going to get a new
the
one,
bottom right with a stamp. Oh, we're getting the same promo they get as 25, but in English. I'm following. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we won't get these arts, which was why I was gonna ask
I understand.
if you've actually collected any of these, but
no, but I do really like the most recent one with Ogapon and Golden Go and Hands. So I might have to buy that. They're quite cheap. I have looked at the secondary market for them. Like they're not too bad for fairly exclusive. Oh, I don't actually know how exclusive these are. I guess I need to do more research on them. But they are some great artwork cards.
Once you find out, let me know, because I'm quite interested. I really like them.
£500.
No, nothing like that.
I've sold a Sandshrew. Sandshrew stock's only going down.
No, you're joking.
For any context to that, viewers back home.
None needed. Next.
During COVID.
No, carry on.
Was it Sandshrews and Geodudes?
Next.
Right, yeah, we'll move on to I guess our competitive content, which is where the value is.
Which I guess is where the value is.
Let the fans tell us where the value is.
Let the fans tell all. There were obviously 2 big regional championships in these past 2 weeks. One in LATAM and one in NA. Vancouver.
Where in LATAM, Rab?
Fortaleza. Brazil. I'm hoping I said that right.
Good.
And Vancouver.
We're all open. It's all open.
And Vancouver. Stop it. Vancouver regionals as well. Well, both stories of the regionals were pretty alike actually. Dragapult pretty much dominated both tournaments. Now both of you watched both of these regionals with prying eyes, I would have thought.
I watched a lot of Vancouver. I didn't. Was there a stream for Fortaleza? I don't know.
No, there wasn't a stream.
I watched a lot of Vank though.
Naturally, I watch a lot of that.
We can go through Fortaleza first. So Fortaleza top 8. Just run through the decks through top 8 because I'm unsure if it was an asymmetric.
It was 12.
It was 12. Okay, we'll go through top 12.
Zambrano was the last one. Yeah.
So I'll go from 12 to first. Dragapult, Ancient Box, Clorf, Saraledge, Lost Box, Gardevoir, Roaring Moon. That is Roaring Moon. Gardevoir, Dragapult, Dusknoir, Gardevoir, Dragapult. So, it doesn't look like dominance on the face of it for Dragapult, but we'll get to that in a moment. Actually, the most popular deck in the top 12 was actually Gardevoir, which was...
And most popular in day 2 was Golden Go.
And most popular in... Okay, we'll go to the stats, actually. That'll probably be a good...
Sorry.
Good little something. No, it's okay. So, Golden Go with 21 decks represented in day 2, then Gardevoir, Dragapult, Lugia, then Archaladon, Clorf making 6th, and then Lost Box 7th. Actually, I'll just go through the top 7. Lost Box, Saraledge, and Miraidon all with 6 decks represented. Yes. Yeah, I think Goldengo obviously with the big surprise of the tournament, other than the Roaring Moon that made top 8. Goldengo obviously surging in popularity ever since UIC with the strong contingency from America bringing it over to UIC and I wouldn't say dominating, but doing well enough to put Goldengo back on the map. I would say
it was very successful.
Yeah, it was a very successful.
It also got on stream a lot, so there's a lot of people seeing it. Yeah. It was high profile.
Seeing how it works, seeing all of its tips and tricks. But yeah, unfortunately, fell apart as we get into top 8.
Got top 16 from Casiraga got top 16.
Casiraga made 15th, but no show into the top 12 or top 8. But Vinny Fernandez. Pretty much dominating the scene once again, taking the win with Dragapult. Pedro Petrucci coming second with their Gardevoir. And a lot of, as any LATAM regional, there are a lot of familiar names. William Azevedo, Marcos Fuentes, Diego Casiagra, and Nicolas Galas making top 32 in 19th place as well. So, it's a very hostile environment with so many good players in one region. But Vinny Fernandez obviously dominating once more, like I said. We can go through the deck.
He played the same 60 at EYC.
He played the same 60, okay.
The exact same 60, yeah. I know Joe's already done his analysis over all these decks. But
Heavy Lance, Klefki and Monkey Dory with Defiance Vest, and the 1-1 Stadium, which was also mirrored in Andrew's deck in Vancouver, but we'll come across that in a minute. But for the Gardevoir, it's going back to Bravery Charms for the second place. This is Petro Patrice's list. Klefki and the Pheasantipity, which I actually really like.
Also
followed the trend more popular.
Yeah, followed the trend of everyone piling on Free Monkey Dory now as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It seems obviously a very important game plan against things like Dragapult, so very interesting.
I saw Henry walking through a wood in Vancouver on his little Twitter, talking all about it. And his philosophy is very simple. It has to be, his board only wants to be Curliers, Gardevoirs, and Monkeys, and that's his golden rule, which is quite funny to hear. Mm-hmm. And then the other things are just useful.
If he has
fundamentally, those are the most important cards.
I think his Twitter is my favourite Twitter in the community.
It's actually some of the best content.
His Twitter page is brilliant. If none of you guys have gone onto the Twitter and heard some of his wisdom, I definitely recommend to. It's absolutely brilliant. But looking at the regional, then, were there any surprises from you guys looking at any of these lists?
Well, Gardevoir littered the top 8, which is sort of the first time, right? It had a good day one stage to do conversion at EYC, but didn't end up on those very end points. I don't think many were in contention for top 8 at EYC. Whereas now we're seeing it does have that capacity to win in a tournament, even though it didn't in this case. But 4 of top 8s or whatever, very, very, very strong. Obviously, it's some of the strongest pilots in Brazil bringing it, but they're backing it. And there are still some really, really strong pilots like Henry Brand in Vancouver. And again, we'll look at some of the pilots. I think Rowan lost his winning in Vancouver. So those players were sort of knocking on the door as well. So a real nod that Gardevoir is still in that tug of war with Dragapult, even though Pult's coming out with more like actual victories. And then I think the other main story is going to be Roaring Moon that we look at from both regionals making a top 8, which is a real surprise for its play rates, where it's almost certainly below 2% play rate, right? I would say in both tournaments.
But Rab's going to say, "I told you so."
But Rab, not a surprise to some. I think.
Have always been championing this. No, yeah.
If you want to pull up the list, Rab, for John.
Yeah, I will do. Just one thing on Gardevoir. Obviously, it's the first tournament that's really, really dominated since Prismatic Evolutions. Of course, a lot of people highly rated Gardevoir as being second, if not first, but definitely second or third.
I think people thought it was
best
first.
It was definitely of the top 2, big 2.
Yeah,
maybe
it was Pult and Guardian.
It was definitely top 2 or 3. More so 2, right? It was always second. Yeah.
One Lugia fell away very quickly.
But I don't think it's actually dominated a tournament in this format as much as it did this regionals.
Yes, I agree.
And of course, with it soon going, that's always nice to see that a lot of people are making the last subtle nod to the deck. But yeah, going through Roaring Moon, like you said, the Roaring Moon. I haven't seen a Roaring Moon list in quite a while, and not much has changed. There's a Petarant in there. That's about it. And a Latias.
Thanks.
And a Latias EX.
Great analysis.
Latias, Latias EX, obviously an obvious pick for this deck. Really, it naturally goes into it with the free retrieval basics. Yeah, it is actually.
You've already got Petri EX.
You've already got Petarant.
No, you want a dark patch, then dart in. Bam.
Yeah, that's what Petarant EX does.
Yeah, I know, but if you don't have any ancient boosters, you don't want to be poisoned, do you?
True enough, but this does play
Good
Ancient
point.
Booster, and it's a really big
It only plays 2, and you play Pokestop,
only-
so
that's
you know
true.
sometimes you have to discard your hand
More
as well.
fool you.
Yes,
So there.
exactly. I win. Carry on.
Another Rab win.
And a single prize Roaring Moon as well, just for flavour, just for a bit of flavour.
Flavour.
It's not just there for flavour. But
Useless flavour. for the giggles.
And 3 Pokemon catchers, which is always fun, isn't it? Flipping coins.
it was a laugh.
Always a good
Yeah,
laugh.
coins is
Always
good.
a laugh until you flip tails. But yeah, Joe, thoughts on this list? Obviously, you've gone through it.
I mean, I'm surprised it's gone that far. I think Ancient Boosters are pretty... I was very surprised to see Libui not have boosters in his list, because I think that gives you a boost into Clorf, which won EUIC, and I think it's pretty important into Pult. Even though they do play Vacuum, you're sort of making them have stuff on the turn, right, a lot of the time, because you can try and offset some stuff. The one thing I really did like from Libui's list was the penny, and I think that would be one of the only criticisms I have of Joel's
Vancouver
list.
now already. Are we?
Sorry, I'm stepping on
You're
toes.
skipping
with Double
forward.
Moon.
Skipping forward.
But the
Can't
penny is
believe
the
it.
big card that I liked from that 60 that I think would be relevant in future moons. But as we know, like we've said this
How
before,
relevant?
right?
How relevant will Moon be? Is the question.
I was about to say, Alex, if you were playing a regional in a week's time, would you be putting Roaring Moon on your map?
No, I don't even
No.
own Roaring Moons. That's
I own 3 in
haven't.
I own 3 in German. If you want to borrow them.
Yeah,
yeah. Cheers, mate. Of course you own them.
I'd love to see you
you
announcing frenzied gouging in German.
It's not frenzied gouging. Before you ask.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's for me. It wouldn't be comfortable to play at all into this kind of format. I don't know how you really handle Dragapult as well as maybe Libui or Joel maybe did. I mean, obviously, still has great attacks. You know, an instant knockout attack is always like busted, right? And obviously, you've got so much, I don't know, synergy with some of the cards that you have because of Dark Patch and things like that, and the just general maneuvering of Pokemon. But yeah, it's not my cup of tea, I'd say.
I'm still not really impressed by it, even though it's had these results. Like, I'm surprised that it's still this like so close to playable, but I still feel like it's spiking.
So close
events.
to playable.
No, like, you know what I mean? I feel like Clorf's a better all-basic deck. I think Moranon's a better all-basic deck.
Yeah.
I think Lost Box is a better all-basic deck. But the fact that it is a consistent basic beat stick still can push you far in tournaments.
Yeah. No, fair enough. I think looking at this list, the Latias EX is probably definitely needed with the amount of discard cards you have. I'm just trying to justify. I'm just trying to justify keeping it in your deck.
I would cut it.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. It's a good just in case card, right?
I'm just looking at the run on Poker Data, right? And I think
No
Joel
switch cards.
He didn't play against any Dragapult
Well, there you go.
until meeting Vinny in like top 8.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And then he
Genius.
lost. And then he lost, right?
Immediately lost.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But everyone lost to Vinny, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Losing
Well,
to
I
the
don't know.
winner.
Vinny does have one loss on his record.
You're joking.
What did he lost? What did he lose to?
He lost to Patusi
In Swiss.
Swiss.
and then got
Oh, really?
revenge.
Oh, interesting. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, there was
I think
another. Go on, sorry.
Yeah, go on, Ram.
No,
I was just
no,
gonna say,
no.
The final point for Fortaleza is a bit of a resurgence of Ceruledge, right? It got into the
did.
ASIM cut and got another top 16 placement when... I mean, I've certainly dogpiled on this deck, and we've thought it's more of a like for fun option, but
I've always
again,
liked
it's
it.
similar.
I honestly think it's like the cheese of Palkia.
Yes, I think the fact that everyone makes you go first and you get to Palkia detonate every stage 2 deck is relevant.
Well, we made the joke. We made the joke to say it's actually a secret Palkia tag.
Yes. And
It
actually,
is.
that brings me to the last thing of top 16, which is a real Palkia deck. Palkia Noctowl also made top 16.
Yeah, I was
did?
literally just clicked on that.
I love this list because it's trying to do the Tord mash of the post-row Pika Noctowl.
Hang on, let me
in
get
that
it up.
it's-
Hang on.
It's playing a couple crisps in addition to the couple trumpets and 2 E-switch as well, and the crystal. So
What
this is like a
place?
mash of 16th.
16.
This kind of feels like we're like the deck. Me and Luke. Well, Luke was starting.
The final form.
The final, but it has Palkia in this instead. So yeah, I again, it's like, can this handle like a Badu? How many items are in there?
Well, you have Irida that you can Noctowl for still, right? As long as you fan call.
And you can still crisp in.
And you can crisp into retreat and assault landing.
When I first saw this list, I thought it was the alpha version of the Ogerpon list.
Right.
A very
right?
early version of. There's a lot of different cards, but the premise is still the same, right?
What I love is your energies aren't dead like they are in the new builds. Is that Greninja's helping you cycle these cards as well, which is nice. So you actually have more draw options than you do in post row. Like Ogre gets you 1 card, Conceal Cards gets you 2, right? So that's kind of good. I think I'll probably take this to a local, or maybe even to Stockholm, honestly, just for fun with it. Last chance saloon with Palkia and Greninja.
There's also one more other fun deck that I actually saw. Quite a bit further down. Let me double check.
Further down, 160.
Yeah. I'd assume so.
79.
79.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no sprite. I'm ready.
Now it's the whole Cursed Blast.
I see.
Saluna deck.
I see.
Just the 2 Kofu.
Just the 2 Kofu. No, wait. Just the one. If the Grusher wasn't a full art.
Just the one Grusher.
I'm gonna be really upset if that Grusher wasn't a full art.
But I mean, like, what did Japan have something like this like very early on as an example? It did.
Let's see if still play this.
It had what they effectively done in their list is they had taken out the they'd taken out the 4-3 or 4-1-2 Bennett line and just replaced it with Badu and a bunch of like Defiance bands.
Badu with Gravity
Gemstone. Defiance Band and Gravity Stone. Yeah.
It just seems so fun.
I would prefer this with quad stop though. I would probably cut some of the tools and just go quad stop in Yeet, like the Palkia.
What if your Grusher gets?
Well, I'm cutting that obviously.
This would be something I'd take to a local or to like a cup or something.
This is sick.
Yeah.
This seems like really fun to play, but I don't know how good it is, but yeah.
There's 2 Latias in this one. Are you gonna have a go?
No. Makes sense in this list.
Yeah, Badu's
very
retreat.
It needs to move.
No, you need to move your
but
Saluna,
your Salunas do not have any retreat.
I am not moving. Yeah, no, fair enough. Any other fun lists?
But yeah,
we can move on to Vank, I guess.
Let's move over to
fun list.
What other fun lists?
There's Iron Thorns.
What more fun? Yeah, no,
certainly not fun.
We'll carry on.
There actually was one interesting list that got top 64.
What is it?
It was an Arc Tina with Trolley and Mochi poison package.
All right, okay.
Did you see this?
This
did the rounds on.
It did the rounds on
Twitter. I think it was literally 64th place.
64th.
Oh, it's just a Tina picture.
It is Arc Tina. 2-2 Arc, 2-2 Tina.
Oh, bringing it back.
You Arven Trolley.
He's bringing it back.
It was 5-0 to begin with, and then just fell apart the next 4 rounds.
You're joking.
Not like this.
Arceus with Trolley. That's actually quite cool. I quite like that.
Certainly cool.
If it was released when Arceus was as well.
So Tina can KO Dragapulse with Mochi, right? And Arceus can KO basic EXs with the poison ticks.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Just saying.
Smashing 2 things together.
We're not playing.
Ever heard of Starbirth? Anyone? Come on.
Never play that, will we? Don't.
So I was about to ask Alex if I'm going to be bringing any Arceus, but I've actually still I've still got in my passport holder, which I do have a passport holder. You can laugh at me all you like. I usually carry cards that I've promised people to bring to multiple regionals, and I still have 4 cards, Alex, that you asked to borrow from 2 different regionals. A 1-1 Fluffy, and a 1-1 Lugia V-Star.
Oh, good point. Might need that Lugia V-Star.
We're back
in there again.
Keep him in there, right?
Back. Yeah. He's going to be asking me for Badu's now.
No, I've just bought 4 Badu's. We're good. We're Badooed. We're Badooed up.
We're Badooed up. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move to Vancouver then. Yeah, over to Vancouver. Do we know if it was a special
It was a clean 8.
Yeah.
A clean 8. Okay, I'll run through the clean 8. So in 8th place we have Pidgeot Control.
Wait, I'm not tripping, am I? Hang on.
I don't know if it was.
No, I'm so wrong here.
I thought Makani made it, didn't
I'm so wrong. Hold on, let me get Pokédata up. Sorry, I've misinformed you. Carry on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
No. I'm gonna wait until you.
I thought Salmit was in as
I'm gonna wait until you confirm.
I'm pretty sure it was 12.
It was.
Concentration phase.
Strategizing. It was 12. It was 12. It was 12.
I'm pretty sure it was 12.
So 12th we've got Lugia. Then I'll go from 12th to 1st.
Some of us are paying attention.
Lugia, Gardevoir, Lugia, Regidrago, Pidgeot Control, Archaludon, Dragapult, Goldengo, Miraidon, Roaring Moon, Goldengo, and Dragapult Dusknoir. So quite a varied top cut actually. A couple of decks represented twice, but no more than that. So yeah,
top seed into cut was Lebui.
Oh really?
Yes.
With the Roaring Moon. Okay, interesting.
If you want to cry your eyes out, watch the final round of day 1, where it's I think the final round is Lebui against someone playing Dragapult, and it's possibly the worst display of Pokemon I've ever seen in my life. So. From both players.
From both.
I gotta catch that up. I didn't actually watch much of
he made up
Vancouver,
for it though, but then he was outplayed by Lucas in top 4. So
yes.
Embarrassingly, I didn't watch much of Vancouver. I still have to catch up on some of it.
Day 1 was a fever dream. I'll tell you that much.
During work, but again, don't tell my boss.
You can have everyone in the background. It's fine.
I can.
Why is the title of this episode "Don't Tell My Boss"?
Don't tell my boss. But I'm back at the chip shop. So yeah, we'll go through day 1 analysis because we have it at least.
Yes.
So running through the top decks represented, we've got Dragapult with a 19.3%, and then a massive drop to 10% with Gardevoir. Then Goldengo with 9.5 in 3rd place, Lugia V-Star with 9.2, Archaludon 7.6, and then a Clorf Terrapagos at 7%. Nothing too surprising on the face of it for myself, other than, of course, the Goldengo uptick is understandable given, like we said, good showing in UIC, a strong contingency of players taking it. So we can see why that
I'm surprised there was less.
Is there.
I'm surprised there wasn't more Miraidon. I thought Miraidon was still pretty good.
I guess people just went to Goldengo, right? I can see why. But I guess one thing that I would always comment on this is just the massive representation in Dragapult. Almost 20% of the room is massive, and especially with the fact that we do have a versatile meta. There are a lot of decks that people will bring. A lot of different decks, that people will bring, but having such a strong representation, I mean, almost 120 more Dragapults than the next one down, which is Gardevoir, and that still only has 130 itself, 131. So, huge representation. Alex, thoughts on the day 1 analysis?
Probably what I expected in all honesty. I don't know if I would have. Yeah, you can probably sub in Miraidon. It probably wasn't even far off from being 7% as well, alongside Clorf, or Terrapagos Clorf, I should say. I think I was also one of those people who maybe thought Lugia had an opportunity here, and I think there was actually quite a good conversion into day 2, if I recall correctly. Because it felt like it underperformed at EUIC, right? In the grand scheme of things, but I felt like with the way the meta's shifting, we'd speak about it all the time. It goes in big cycles, and it's pretty good into the Dragapult, Goldengo. It has its moments. It can kind of just outspeed sometimes as well when it uses Iron Hands. It's in a pretty funky spot. I quite enjoy it, but again, it depends on how the next tournament might shift, where Miraidon suddenly pops back up at 8 to 10% again and takes over. But yeah,
Lugia's great into the new top 3, right? If it's Pult, Guardi, Dengo, that's a really good place for Lugia. But I feel like Miraidon should be in that 6 conversation. I think probably Arch is dropping out of those right now.
Yeah, Arch, like, its damage output's probably a bit too low.
It's just Dengo is such a hard matchup, man.
Yeah, Dengo's a real problem for our Charizard, and we'll definitely come to that when we have a look at the day two stats. But Joe, the massive rep in Dragapult, like I said, is that a surprise to you?
Not really. I mean, it was one of the it was touted as best pre-EYC. It didn't flop, so yeah. And there's great blueprints from pilots of a Dusknoir approach and a slow Pult, I suppose it's being touted as now, where it's no cursed blasters, and both have their merits. So I think it's not surprising, and I think it's going to retain that percentage going into like Stockholm and Brisbane, to be honest.
Fair enough. Going into the regional day 2 stats then, which I have in front of me, which I'll whittle down. So Dragapult keeping its top spot at 17.9, Gardevoir EX 13.2, Goldengo 13.2, Lugia then sticking at 4th again as well. Then Clorf, then Pikachu EX / Lost Zone box. So our Chaladon definitely coming off that map, putting in Lost Box on the back of that.
Two decks from day 1 basically lost percentages, right? It was Dragapult did lose some, and then Arch fell off.
Yeah.
Whilst the rest actually gained and actually found pretty good spots.
Yeah, our Chaladon again could only be explained through the massive rep in Goldengo. Goldengo, like you said, Joe, is such a hard matchup for Dragapult. Having the
Lost
ability
Box is pretty tough for Arch as well, actually.
Yeah, well, Goldengo having a method of hitting such high numbers very easily, I would say. That's not going to be a great time for our Chaladon.
It's mostly that they even have Monkey and sometimes 2 Churros, so you can't even do like setup pokes with Duras. That was like my only thing I tried to do at EYC, force a 1 prize KO from them, and that still just gets nullified too easily. So you need to basically play very heavy black belts in addition to Dialga. If you need 2 black belt and Dialga, I think, to have a chance into Dengo, and even then I still don't feel that confident. So
understandable. Why Lost Box though? Why is Lost Box a particularly bad matchup?
Peak is a pain for Arch.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
Yep.
Day 2. What are your thoughts?
I mean,
you tired, Rav?
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? I lost my words. Give me a break. I mean, you can't really have any thoughts. It's the same rep as it was.
It's the same. Everything's the same. Cheers, Rab.
Okay, we'll run into the regional results. So like I said, top. Well, I've always gone through top 8, but story on the map was Roaring Moon. I guess making another good result, coming in top 4, 3rd place with Laboy. Not the same list, obviously, from Brazil. The penny you mentioned earlier, Joe, where you kind of jumped the gun on all of us and just went straight to Vancouver.
Sorry, I like it.
It's fine, whatever.
Joe's playing Roaring Moon confirmed.
Playing one Coridon and one Professor Research as well, and no Ancient Booster Capsule. So
that's a big surprise.
So those Roaring Moons are definitely getting poisoned, unfortunately.
Well, no, because there's a Lati in the list, Rap. Don't you worry.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, you're right.
Come on.
Yeah, come on. To get the pitch out of there. Get it out.
Come on, the boys.
So why? In all seriousness, let's get serious now. Why do we think Roaring Moon has actually had such a good couple of results? Because the rep must have been really low, right? Only about, I mean, in the tens, if that, right? Yeah. I would only ever expected about 10 or 20 of people to bring Roaring Moon compared to the rest of the decks that are on offer. So why such good results?
Well, I think Labui's been playing this online for a decent amount of time, so I think he's just an experienced Moon player, so knows what to do with the deck, and probably plays it quite differently to maybe how you or I would play it in a lot of situations. But I mean, Cawthon played it at one of the recent tournaments as well, and I think that was like a bit of a blueprint.
That was when he came over. Is that when he came over to Europe?
Yeah, that was when he came over to play in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's still just a keep you honest deck, right? It still has the high rolls of catchers. It's still capitalizing on just aggression being solid. And gouging is just a good end game sequence, right? Where they can't play around you benching a moon and just knocking out anything in your way. And like a lot of the Dragapults, they give up prize cards hoping that your final Pult can tank 2 turns, and that's how it wins the game. So you can at least make that a win con for yourself.
Would you play this over any of the other two prize sloggers, as we like to call them?
I wouldn't play it over any of the 2 prize sloggers.
Okay. Interesting.
So, yeah, maybe over Gouging Fire. That would be the only slogger that I would consider this over.
No.
I would definitely
gouging to begin with.
But this also like punishes the control players, right? In that you have Petch. Although I do think that the Snorlax players with Clorf back in the mix after winning a UIC probably would have played Klefki as well. So I don't even know if that's true.
Actually, good point you made about Snorlax. Nobody's playing it. I haven't seen it make a good result in quite a while. It's fallen off the map a bit.
It got 2 in top 8 at UIC, bro. What?
Well, no. I mean, in these 2 regionals, in these 2 events. Sorry. Okay, let me rephrase it.
It's been ages, like 2 weeks or something. I think people had lax on the mind, right? We saw more Spiritomb techs in decks. We saw the Petcherunts in the Roaring Moon decks. We saw more churros and more pennies and whatnot, and that's always a textbook sign that people are scared of lax.
Yeah, fair enough. And then Miraidon also making top 4 as well. Caleb Rogerson repping the Miraidon. Very standard list, I would say. Secret Box as the option on Ace Back.
I'm weeping. Yeah, I'm really trying to find the space for Heavy Ball in the list, but other than that, I love the 60.
Yeah, I think it's a very sleek-looking 60 cards for Miraidon. I think the list has got so tight now. I mean,
the box list, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's got very tight, very very tight.
I think you can probably start cutting Zapdos again. That would be my risk that I would do with it again, because I feel like the Arch is going to be going towards 5 to 6% now, and I think that's a calculated risk that's worth taking again.
I agree.
Yeah, fair enough. I think, Alex, just to finish us off on Vancouver, obviously Stockholm now next week. As somebody who could be potentially playing in Stockholm, say, for example, I'm playing.
Potentially.
How would you summarise the past 2 regionals to myself to prepare me for what Stockholm might bring?
What is this question?
Yeah,
what would you play?
Can you rewind?
Well, I'm just trying to look. What do we mean?
Dow, put your brain in Ralph's body.
What do we mean by regionals? What do we mean? Was that question too consultant?
I'm starting to
it was beyond consultant, and
was it too encyclopedia?
Oh yes. I'm starting to realise why we only do this every 2 weeks, because I need to recover after this.
Sorry, that was a valid question. How do you summarise? Okay, how do you summarise the 2 regionals to somebody who's possibly playing in Stockholm? Is that better? Is that a better way of saying it?
That's much better.
Okay.
That's what we've just done over the last... whatever.
Yeah, I mean, basically take what we just saw as the day 1 from Vancouver and expect that to be your meta.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Because Dragapult's very good. It's probably the best deck in format. Guardi, there'll be a lot of Guardi believers picking it back up because of the results that we've seen, particularly in Brazil. But generally, the whole Golden Go is definitely a thing. It's definitely something that people have to keep an eye out for. It's very wide and varied. You're going to be going into a tournament that's large, and you're just going to have to play whatever you're comfortable with and hit the right matchups. It's just like that right now.
I do think the Lugia resurgence is real as well. I think that's rightfully going to go back onto the day 1 graphic.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, well, it's been an hour
doesn't help your preparation, does it, Rab?
No, not at all. Just look at the graphics. Just expect that.
Thanks, everyone.
Pick a good deck. Yeah.
One last ride as well, so just play what you want.
Yeah,
what
play something you enjoy. If you play something you enjoy, you'll play better. All right.
So you saying pick up Reggie Drago again?
Don't listen to others.
Well,
Actually,
I Palkia deck. I think that deck's sick.
That deck looks very cool. I just bought myself a 4/4 Noctowl line. I'm a bit late to that train, I think.
Despite me and Joe championing it for
best engine in the game. We've been telling you for months.
I've been dummy handing it, and it's very cool. I've bought Ogre Mask for my for prep. Put that on the map. I'm going to make Ogre Mask go through the moon. I've invested my life savings in Ogre Masks. Yeah, so
another terrible decision you've made.
Yeah, but that's it really. Hour 20 minutes. We'll call it there. Stockholm next week.
Yes.
Exciting stuff. What are you both up to this weekend then? Any cups? Any challenges?
No. Rest and relaxation for me. I've had a full-on few weeks.
I have a cup that I'll have to be playing.
It's 5 p.m. Is this the 5 p.m. cup? I don't believe you, by the way. I would call that shop up because they can't stop at 5. They can't start at 5. That's ridiculous.
Well, I'm pretty sure I saw a tweet the other day that like Jalen was at a cup after work one day.
Where is it? Is it a nightclub?
They're best of one tournaments though in the Americas.
Are they definitely?
Is it held in? Is it held in?
Almost always best of one. Yeah.
Is it held in an Oceana or a Revs or something? Like a nightclub.
Hello.
Because there's no way. It's Sunday 5 p.m.
Just not in the actual store. Right? Like
Sunday 5 p.m.
You decided it'll be in a 18-year-old's nightclub instead.
Sunday 5 p.m. You wouldn't catch me doing that. I wouldn't be allowed.
Like I said, I get my day to myself, which is good, and then I can go play some Pokemon and go home and go to bed.
Yeah, well, good luck
for the next week.
That's all I can tell you.
Yeah,
good luck.
Got to try and figure something out in terms of what I want to play. I tried to build a deck the other day and literally had no pieces. I was always missing 2 cards from every list. It was really sad.
Well, if you need Ogre Mask or German Roaring Moon, let me know.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll reach out to Joe. Don't worry.
Yeah, I bet. Right, okay, well, thank you for everybody for listening. If you've got this far, well done. Congratulations. We'll be back.
Press record this time.
I did, yeah. Whole time. All of our faces in it. It's great.
Whole time.
Yeah, you won't see any Comic Sans apologies from me this time.
We got so many subscribers when you did it, though. You
I know.
Can you do an apology song next time?
Apology rap?
I tell you, if I mess up next time, I'll do a song. Fine.
Yeah,
that'll be my forfeit. Even though I'm responsible for everything.
Excuse you.
Joke.
Good.
Right. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Bye.